Everything's up.
What's up? This is about Suburbicon. This is the Screen Fiend movie review for Suburbicon, the George Clooney movie, which is real Joel and Ethan Cohen production. The Cohen brothers wrote this script way back in the 90s, right before they even put out Fargo. This is one of their early puppies that they decided not to do because basically it couldn't get funded. So what this was is just an early draft of Fargo. If you've seen Fargo, then you said, okay, you've already saw the better version of Suburbicon. It was more jazzed up than this script here. But George Clooney liked this script so much that he begged the Coen brothers to let him do it. So he directed it and said, you guys will get writing credits. Then I'll add some new twists to it, and then we can move on. He had two other writers add a twist to the Suburbicon, is add this civil rights movement in there as far as a black couple moving into the neighborhood for the first time in the suburbs. That was the additional piece that wasn't in the original script. This was the piece that was added by George Clooney. He wanted to do that in light of the situations that's been happening. And this is really what hurt the film because this was like a side distraction to the actual plot. And I understood what he was trying to tie everything in together, but it ended up as a side distraction to the actual events that was taking place. But Suburbicon, the city that they lived in, the fictional city, Suburbicon, was where people went to escape diversity. The suburbs was like it's segregated, basically all white. When this black couple moved in, they were outraged because there was no reason for this black couple to move into this neighborhood. And they talked about them as black people don't have the capacity to want to better themselves. So, and the thing is that this black couple didn't bother anybody. They cut their grass. They did everything everyone else did. But the people that acted like the savages who was tearing up the neighborhoods and trying to make loud sounds and make noises at night just to get them to move and going through all these extremes just to get them to move out of the community, they were the ones tearing up the community. They were the ones acting like savages. They're the ones littering in the streets, throwing riots, making loud noises at night, and they want to blame the blacks for just moving in the neighborhood who weren't bothering them at all. Now, that was the side distraction to what the real plot of the movie was. The real script that was actually taking place, because that's a real true story that happened between Daisy and William Myers. And that's the picture you see right here. That black couple in Pennsylvania. When they moved to a suburban neighborhood, they were the first black couple to do it in that area. They went through this thing here. So George Clooney inserted that. But Matt Damon and Julianne Moore is involved in this situation in which a guy breaks into their house, some mobsters tie them up, and the wife is murdered, and a whole lot of things happen during that scene. You know, the wife's sister, her identical twin sister, the auntie, is left alive, but the wife was killed. But it was like an accidental death. So now there's an insurance policies, a whole bunch of things going on in this script with the killers, the guys who actually did it. And I don't want to tell the script, but or tell the rest of the plot, but this movie here is very predictable. I mean, it's very easy to follow. It's very simple. You know what's going on in the first 10 minutes of this movie. when they get to the actual plot. It's not a lot of meat and potatoes to this thing. It's like really bland and laid out. The actual additional piece that they added with the distractional piece with the black family living next door and their son is best friends with their son, that little added connecting piece really wasn't developed right. It just didn't fit. It seemed like two different movies, two different situations happening all together, and one just didn't gel with the other. Because what you did is really alienate white folks for watching a movie like this, because now they're gonna look bad. They're like, look, we look pathetic in this movie. We look like savages. And the black people look like civilized human beings. And we're terrorizing these poor people. This movie, I can't watch this. So they don't want to watch that. And I think I mean I enjoyed it to a degree. You know, I could tell the Coen brothers, it was their style, it was their writing. It's hard to tell this without doing a review without telling like a lot of the details of the movie, but Matt Damon plays a guy who seems stressed out with his life, and his wife is in a wheelchair, and the sister, her identical twin sister, isn't. And the aunt, she lives with them. And the wife kind of resents him because they were in a car accident, is the reason why she ended up in the wheelchair. And I felt that was where the tension of the story needed to be. We didn't need the extra scene with the black family moving next door because the story was interesting by itself. The husband was driving the car. They get into a car accident, and the wife ends up paralyzed, and they're still together. So just that tension of that alone was enough to drive the film, because that's got to be hard to take and deal with. To know you're the husband and you caused your wife's disability, you know, that's a very powerful thing. So our sister got to live with her to help her out. And I felt that was pretty powerful. And that should have really been the arc of the film. But overall, out of 4 stars, I give it 2.5 stars out of 4 for Suburbicon. I'm out.